This car only costs $755,000 for the top of the line model. That is over $100,000 less than the base EcoSport, over $150,000 less than the base Vitara. To get the variants that have the same features as this, you would be spending over $1 million on each of them. So the S2 is cheap, but it's not cheap. You pay a lot less than you would for a Japanese or an American car, but you get a lot more inside. This came out in 2015 with an aluminum engine with a plastic intake manifold, dual variable valve timing, and all the fancy modern stuff you find on a Japanese car. And this engine actually is on the Chinese version of the 10 best engine list. It's got 112 horsepower, which is pretty impressive for a 1.5, and it actually sounds pretty quiet and refined when we're just tooling around. You hit it and it roars. Now the rest of the package is what you'd expect of a small crossover. McPherson's in front, torsion beam in the back. It rides pretty well and it's quiet enough. Not as quiet as some of the best in the class, but then again, over 100,000 pesos less than the base model, over 200 to 300,000 pesos less than anything comparable. And come on, just look at this. This is a 755,000 peso car with a giant touchscreen, tire pressure monitoring, Bluetooth, everything, and a 6-speaker system that actually sounds pretty good. Now, I don't have very many complaints about this car. It could use a little more sound insulation, but then we're comparing it to cars that cost 200 or 300,000 pesos more. The steering is very light and awfully eager to self-center, as you see right there, which is not actually a bad thing in traffic. Steering that self-centers itself instead of you having to do it, that's a godsend. The brakes are good, the acceleration is good, the CVT is very smooth. It doesn't want to jump off the line in drive mode, but you put it in sport mode and you can get acceleration instantly whenever you want it. There's not that much jump. It's only a 1.5, but the 0 to 100 time is quoted at just over 12 seconds, which is not bad for a 1.5. This one goes straight up against the EcoSport, the Vitara, the HRV, all the small crossovers of the world, and it compares very well. I would not call it class leading, but I would call it mid-pack with a bargain basement price. This thing is so cheap, and you get stitched leatherette everywhere, on the dashboard, on the doors. You get soft touch materials. You get this brushed aluminum effect, which honestly is a lot better than fake carbon fiber. Now with a rear torsion beam and crossover ride height and Chinese tires, you don't expect much, but this isn't a bad drive at all. Now, a lot of buyers have their doubts about Chinese cars, and I don't blame them. They haven't had a great history here, but this car is backed up by a distributor that is dedicated to seeing it survive. So they're opening up a lot of dealerships, and they promise that parts will be available. They promise a 3 to 4 day turnaround for parts. Well, that's better than some cars that come from Thailand, which is much closer than China. Beyond that, you can actually get bank financing for a Chinese car. Imagine that. So could this be your next car? I don't know, but you owe it to yourself to check it out because it's a very good looking and good feeling car. This has been Nicky Tamayo for Top Gear Philippines, signing out.